We're getting an unexpected week of almost spring-like weather, so we're taking a short break from demolishing the old kitchen to finish pointing the facade.
So there's a few things that we still need to do, and one is fill this hole and point this section of wall, and also take out this last bit of cement. And then the next thing is...
We need to finish the bottom 15 centimeters of this wall all the way until the green doors.
And then there's also a few small bits above the balcony that need doing still. We've been wanting to paint this part of the house for a long time now, but we've struggled to find the right paint color. Because we're choosing to work with lime wash made with mineral pigments, we can't just have the paint custom mixed to our exact preferred RAL color. We did some tests a few months ago and then got started on pointing the facade, and this moved into the background for a bit. But last week we went back to the paint shop and got a few more options to try. But before we continue, a brief detour for good reasons. It's warm. So, I've reinvented myself a few times throughout my life. I've first been an academic, and then a wedding photographer, and then a coach, and now a YouTuber. And I've got lots of old business contact details and addresses online in directories and people search sites that I didn't even ever submitted to, and I would prefer all of that to be gone. That's where Incogni comes in. With their custom data removal, you can select the exact sites where your info appears and their team handles the rest. And because I'd much rather be painting these walls than wrestling my way through data broker sites, being able to outsource this work is quite a relief. If, like me, you've got a lot of old info in all sorts of places online, the unlimited plan makes it easy to request removals for as many sites as you need. Incogni doesn't just handle public search sites and business directories for you, they also reach into the less visible private data brokers where your info gets traded behind the scenes. And because data brokers have a nasty habit of putting info back up after a while, Incogni repeats removal requests every few months to keep your data gone for good. If you want to try it for yourself, go to incogni.com/Kashina. It only takes a few minutes to set up.
Kom je de verfjes bekijken, liefje? Hey?
Now, back to my paint. We're looking for a sandy, warm yellow that matches the color of the lime mortar we use to point the stones. The shade of yellow that we tried earlier this year turned out a little bit too cool, so hopefully one of these will be warmer. So the thing with lime wash is that the paint dries up much lighter than the color in the tin. I do really like both of these at first glance, but they will change when they dry. Lime wash looks quite patchy as you first apply it, but then it evens out as it dries. I do also really like this color. It's more desaturated. It's yellow, but it's more desaturated, less lemony.
Yeah. Of course, it's still wet, so it's still.
Yeah, it will get like much lighter.
Yeah.
Hallo. Kom eens kijken. Wat zegt dit?
Dat is veel beter dan het vorige, hè?
Ja, het zijn twee verschillende kleuren, hè. Dit zijn twee verschillende kleuren. Het onderste stuk tot hier
Ja.
is één kleur. En dan vanaf hier naar boven is de tweede kleur.
Ah,
De ene heeft iets meer rosa en de andere is meer vuil mosterd. De ene heb ik al ook naast een luik gedaan, deze moet ik nog naast een luik doen. Maar ik dacht, ik doe het hier op de hoek, want nu dat de gevel gevoegd is, kun je dan
een beetje
de
beter.
beetje beter vergelijken als dan op allebei zon zit.
Ja.
Maar dus eens even naar de linkerluik van dit raam gaan kijken. Daar heb ik naast het groen gedaan. En ik vind als je die bovenste kleur tegen de gevel ziet, dat dat eigenlijk het beste nu in dit licht in elk geval.
Vind je dat goed als ik pasta klaar maak met die ham en champignonnetjes?
Dat was het dan voor vandaag.
Isis has filled the big holes, and they will have to dry until tomorrow before we can point this last bit of wall. So in the meantime, I will remove the last bits of cement.
So yesterday I almost finished this piece of wall, but not quite, so I'm doing that now, and then the top floor will be finished. For real this time, because I know we've said this before, but then we decided to go just a bit lower on the walls so that the gap we're leaving until we restore the balcony is just a little bit less visible from the courtyard.
The pointing bags, a necessary evil. Nou, ze zijn toch best wel handig voor onder het balkon, moet ik zeggen.
Well, yeah, it's a convenient evil.
Ja, convenient evil, oké. I guess it's 1 o'clock.
So this is what the colors look like in even lighting. Our preference is for the top color because it most closely resembles the color of the mortar that we use to point the stone wall. Now that it's dry, it also works really nicely with the color of the shutters. And I also tried a bit just below one of the windowsills here. The windowsills are some kind of natural stone, and it also works really well with the color of the sills. Yeah, I had kind of given up hope that we would find the exact right color straight from the tin, but I guess we were lucky. So I'm looking forward to painting. Also to pointing, but I'm looking forward to painting the newer part of the farmhouse, but we can't do that straight away because we first need to do some touch-ups. We need to fill holes, fill some hairline cracks here and there, and on the first floor we also still need to install the new shutters and the new shutter dogs, and to install those we need to make holes to mortar them in place. So we want to do all of those things first before painting, otherwise it's just more work further down the line. And we'll also first do the balcony, because on this side, just around the corner, there's also part of the balcony, and then otherwise we'll have to do more paint touch-ups there. That means that probably we'll be painting the facade kind of in a not chronological or in a random order. Like I think probably we'll do this wall first, and then maybe the back side, and then the wall to the side here, and then the other wall. Because on the far end, we also want to turn one of the windows into a door. So there's that too. That needs to happen first. So we're not there yet with the painting, but it gives me a lot of peace of mind that we have found our color at least.
Dat is niet voor jou, liefje.
Top side of this apparently never has been painted.
No. It's concrete grey.
So while I'm doing the ultimate color test, I thought I'd share some numbers from the pointing we just finished. We'd always planned to do this work ourselves, but out of curiosity we got a few quotes. They came out between 80 and 100 euros per square meter. For this wall, that would have been somewhere between 9 and 11,000 euros. So what did we spend doing it ourselves? Altogether, this section came in around 900 euros, with over half of that being tools we'll get many more miles out of. So that means that we saved 8 to 10,000 euros just for this wall alone. This section is about 10% of all the exterior walls that need pointing. There's just under 900 square meters left. If we do all of those ourselves with occasional helpers, we'll save nearly 100k, which feels kind of unbelievable, but it's still true. That's money that's much needed for things like electrics, plumbing, roofs, windows, and all the stuff that we can't or aren't allowed to do ourselves. Doing those 900 square meters all by ourselves again might sound like a crazy endeavor. For this wall, we averaged about 10 square meters a week, so that works out at roughly 2 full years of pointing still to go, spread out over the next decade or so. We will hopefully get faster at it, get a few more helpers in, and also the rest should be a bit more straightforward because most of the walls don't have render, so we don't need to take that off, and we also don't need to clean the stones of the lime residue. So for now this part is finished, and I'm so happy that we can end 2025 with it.
Yeah, hold on there. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, matey.
Really good. Come here. Mason, baby.